The fashion world of the bold and the beautiful is about to witness a dramatic shift that no one saw coming. While John McCook's iconic character, Eric Forrester, has spent weeks battling his family's insistence that he retire from Forrester Creations, a shocking development is emerging from the shadows that could redefine his entire future on the show and challenge everything the Logan and Forrester family's belief about power, legacy, and reinvention. The reluctant retirement. Just weeks ago, Eric faced what seemed to be his greatest challenge at Forrester Creations, his own family's subtle but relentless push toward retirement. A surprise retirement party organized by Ridge, Brooke, Steffi, and other members of the family left Eric devastated and furious. Rather than celebrating the next chapter of his life, Eric found himself standing in his office, staring at a retirement banner hanging above his desk like a guillotine waiting to drop. The party had been carefully orchestrated with every detail designed to soften the blow. Colleagues from around the world sent video messages congratulating Eric on his remarkable career. Beautiful photographs showcased his most iconic designs from the past 4 decades. Steffi gave a heartfelt speech about how Eric had shaped not only her career, but the entire fashion industry. Yet beneath the veneer of celebration lay an uncomfortable truth: his family had decided his time was over. The one thing I want to do more than anything is design, Eric had declared passionately to Ridge during their heated confrontation in the design studio. That's my passion, and I intend to pursue it until the day I pass away. Stephanie and I built this company from the ground, right where you all are now. You think you can just put me out to pasture like some old horse? Ridge remained unmoved by his father's emotional plea. His response was measured, controlled, designed to appear reasonable despite the wound it inflicted. Dad, nobody's putting you out to pasture. We're asking you to transition into an ambassadorial role. You'd still be part of the company. You'd address buyers from the stage, attend fashion shows, represent Forrester internationally. It's a position of honor. A position of honor, Eric repeated, bitterly shaking his head. You mean a position where I have no real power, no creative input, and no say in the future of my own company? That's not honor, Ridge. That's exile. Ridge proposed an ambassadorial role, instead suggesting Eric could address buyers from the stage, essentially sidelining him from the actual creative work that has defined his entire life. The camera lingered on Eric's defiant expression, leaving fans questioning whether the patriarch could truly be pushed aside by the very empire he created. For 3 decades, Eric Forrester had been the heart and soul of Forrester Creations. His name wasn't just on the building, his vision, his artistry, his unwavering commitment to excellence had defined every collection. Every season, every triumph and tragedy that the company had experienced. The thought that his family could simply vote him into irrelevance felt like a betrayal so profound that Eric could barely speak to his children. For days afterward, a secret in the making. But what Eric's family didn't anticipate was what would unfold behind closed doors in the weeks that followed. While Ridge and the rest of Forrester Creations were busy celebrating their supposed victory and convincing Eric to step back, another force was quietly moving into position, and it came bearing an unexpected offer that would change everything. Katie Logan Spencer, having recently secured funding from her billionaire husband Bill Spencer, was launching an entirely new fashion house simply called Logan. The move had already sent shockwaves through Forrester Creations, particularly to Ridge, who felt the Logan name belonged to the Forrester legacy through Brooke. Legally, however, Katie holds the trademark to her maiden name, and she intends to make the most of it. Katie's announcement of the new company had been met with skepticism and derision from the Forrester camp. How could Katie Logan, a woman with only sporadic fashion industry experience, possibly launch a successful fashion house in such a competitive market? What did she know about designing, manufacturing, distribution, and building brand loyalty? The consensus among Forrester executives was that Logan Designs would be dead in the water within 6 months. What came next, however, was something no one, not even the executives at Forrester, could have predicted. In a confidential meeting arranged in the back corner of a small coffee shop far from downtown Los Angeles, Katie approached Eric with a proposition that would change everything. Katie, impressed by Eric's legendary design, vision, and acutely aware of his recent marginalization at Forrester, approached him with an opportunity that offered him something. Forrester could no longer provide creative freedom, artistic autonomy, and the chance to design once again uninhibited by family politics or corporate compromise. "I've been watching you," Katie said directly, her voice low and measured as she slid a folder across the small table. "I've seen what's happening at Forrester. I know about the retirement party, the ambassadorial role they're trying to force on you, and how you feel about it." Eric's expression hardened. "Has Brooke sent you to convince me to accept their terms?" "No," Katie said firmly. "Brooke doesn't even know I'm here. This is about you, Eric, and it's about what I'm building." Katie opened the folder, revealing detailed business plans, financial projections, and something else entirely, a collection of sketches. But these weren't Katie's sketches. Eric recognized them immediately as his own work preliminary designs he'd created months ago while exploring new aesthetic directions. Designs he'd shown to no one, kept in a private portfolio at his home. "How did you?" Eric began, but Katie cut him off. "Brooke mentioned them in passing. Said you'd been experimenting with something new but hadn't shown anyone because you weren't sure if Forrester would be interested. I want you to develop those ideas further. I want you to be the creative force behind Logan Designs." Eric stared at the sketches, recognizing immediately the potential Katie had seen in them. They represented a departure from the classic Forrester aesthetic, still elegant, still sophisticated, but infused with a contemporary edge that spoke to a younger, more dynamic market. "It's exactly what I was thinking of for Logan," Katie continued, her eyes lighting up as she watched Eric study the designs. The designs were stunning, a perfect blend of timeless elegance and modern sophistication. Exactly the kind of work that has made Eric a legend in the fashion industry. Your vision, Eric. Your creativity. Your name. That's what will make Logan Designs not just a competitor, but a genuine force in the industry. Eric looked up from the sketches, his eyes searching Katie's face for any sign of deception or hidden agenda. What he found instead was sincere respect and genuine admiration for his work. "It has to be kept a secret," Eric said quietly, his voice carrying both caution and excitement. "No one can know about this." "Not yet." Katie nodded. "Not until we're ready to launch. We'll build the collection in secret. You'll work from a private studio we're setting up. Nothing goes public until we have a full line ready, and the announcement will be so big that no one can ignore it. The weight of a decision. For a man who founded Forrester Creations from nothing, who built an empire brick by brick alongside his late wife Stephanie, the decision to design for Katie's upstart company represented something far more profound than a job. It was a statement about his own worth, his relevance, and his future. In accepting Katie's offer, Eric was essentially rejecting his family's narrative that he was too old, too tired, too much of a burden on the company. That first night in the private studio that Katie had arranged, Eric stood surrounded by bolts of fabric in every color imaginable. Sewing machines hummed softly in the background. Mood boards covered every wall, displaying inspiration images, color palettes, and silhouettes that spoke to the vision Katie wanted to create. For the first time in weeks, Eric felt alive. Really truly alive in a way he hadn't since before the retirement party. His fingers itched to sketch. His mind raced with ideas. The weight that had been pressing down on his chest since his family's intervention seemed to lift slightly. He worked through the night, sketching dress after dress, coat after coat. Each design flowed from his pencil as if his hands were possessed by some creative force that refused to be dormant any longer. By dawn, he had created 12 complete looks, a cohesive collection that told a story of elegance, rebellion, and renewal. The secrecy of the arrangement speaks volumes about the delicate nature of the situation. Eric knew that revealing his involvement with Logan to his family would ignite a firestorm. Ridge would see it as betrayal of the highest order, not just of the company, but of their relationship as father and son. Brooke might view it as Eric siding with her younger sister against the family business, a choice that would wound her deeply. Steffi would certainly interpret it as a direct challenge to her authority at Forrester and a questioning of her judgment in forcing Eric's retirement. Yet there, Eric was sketching designs in the quiet of night, collaborating with Katie on a vision that could either resurrect his creative spirit and prove that age is no barrier to brilliance, or become the final nail in the coffin of his relationship with his children. During one late-night design session, as Eric worked on a particularly challenging silhouette, Katie arrived with coffee and pastries. "You know this is going to change everything when it comes out," Katie said, setting the items on a nearby table. "I know," Eric replied without looking up from his sketch. "Ridge will think I've betrayed him. Brooke will be hurt. Steffi will see it as a challenge to her authority. "And how do you feel about that?" Katie asked carefully. Eric finally looked up, his expression weary but resolved. "I feel like I had a choice: accept becoming irrelevant or fight to prove that I still have something valuable to offer. I chose to fight." Katie's bold gambit. Katie Logan has never been one to shy away from a challenge. But even she recognized that launching a new fashion house in an industry dominated by established powerhouses required more than ambition. It required artistry, credibility, and a name that could capture attention. After years of being overshadowed by her sisters and passed over at Forrester Creations despite her contributions, she finally had the chance to build something entirely her own. The moment Ridge rejected her ideas and the company chose other directions for their collections, Katie recognized an opportunity. She had learned the business from the ground up, watching her mother Brooke navigate the fashion world, observing her sister's triumphs and failures, and slowly developing her own aesthetic sensibility. What she lacked was the platform and the creative genius to elevate her vision into something truly exceptional.